Okay, we're away. Well, welcome everybody this morning to the Public Practice Accountants Club on Clubhouse, where public practitioner, thought leaders, industry specialists and accountants just like you discuss the hot topics in public practice and how they go about navigating the public practice landscape around the world. So fundamentally, public practice has the same principles, dynamics and challenges no matter where we are in the world. We might have some different tax seasons, busy periods and legislation, but at the core, we're very much the same. So our room this morning is next gen accountants and setting them up for success. Now, I know this is a topic that is very close to both my heart and also my amazing co-host, Kyelie Baxter. So just a quick introduction from me this morning. I think I know most people in the Clubhouse stratosphere this morning, so thank you for joining us. But I am Linda Steffens, my name, and I am an accountant and author and an introvert, and I've been hanging around public practice now for just on 30 years. But the last, I'd say, it's creeping up on me, 7 to 10 years, I've been educating and coaching accountants, particularly around transitioning into doing more advisory services. And I simply love doing that. So that's great. I love spending my days like that. And of course, my amazing co-host, Kyelie Baxter. Good morning, Kyelie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sort of glad that the people in Clubhouse can't see me this morning because I did go to a very long International Women's Day lunch yesterday, and I'm feeling the after effects of that this morning. When I woke up at, 6:15, I thought, why do all my long lunches have to happen on a Tuesday? So I love that. But
yes.
It's a fun day, nevertheless. So I'm Kyelie Baxter. I have a public practice accounting firm on the Gold Coast and have been in this industry for a bit over 20-something years. I don't like to count them now. I'm just going to start counting backwards. And maybe when I get to 5.
I got to 30 and just went, hang it, Kyelie. I got to 30 as I hang it now. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I think this topic for me is something that's really close to my heart because I think in our industry we've got so many employers shouting out that there's untrained or unskilled staff.
Yes.
And I think this is an awesome solution and one way we can actively solve that problem. So, looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Kyelie. And absolutely happy International Women's Day, a little belated today. But if we're listening, anybody from the US or Canada, happy International Women's Day to you today. And I know that we've probably all learned a little bit about break the bias yesterday and just the little things that we can do around that. So lots to learn, and I was very intrigued with what I learned about the unconscious bias and things there with women. So some good stuff to talk about. Something I want to bring to everyone's attention is we've got a new feature in Clubhouse. It is certainly the next gen technology when it comes to chatting and interacting online, and they're always bringing us new features. So this one quite excites me because it's perfectly set up for us introverted accountants. It's a lovely little chat feature. So you can talk to us without having to talk to us or unmute your mic. So we would love for you to just say hi to us this morning. You will find the little chat feature. It's a little message bubble down on the left-hand side of the room. So just try it out, everyone. Tell us where you're clubhousing in from. I said zooming in. I zoom so much these days. But we would love to find out where you're from and where we're talking to you. So, all right.
Hey, Linda.
Yes. Yes.
Press the chat feature and it says this is disabled.
Oh, technical problem.
Can
right.
You try it on yours? Please?
Yes, it did the same thing for me. Okay. All right, let's fix that up because I'm sure I've got control of that. Let's have it. Here we go. You press the on button, Linda. There we are. Now try it, Kyelie. Have we got a chat feature?
Yes.
Woohoo.
We've got a chat feature. I will get that.
You're going to chat and say hello.
I'm going to say good morning because we are a verified CPA discussion group. So anyone that can be claiming CPD hours for these Clubhouse chats in the morning, and we'd really love everyone to come and have a chat and get some engagement.
Absolutely. And if anybody has trouble with Clubhouse, we also are live streaming across my LinkedIn platform as well. So it can be picked up over there. And of course, the replays are in Clubhouse and also on my YouTube channel. So plenty of time to get your CPD in by just listening to Kyelie and I chatter away. Okay, so just a reminder that our conversations and our chats now need to be absolutely positive, supportive, and collaborative as we come together in support of our amazing industry, no matter where we are in the world. Okay, next gen accountants, setting them up for success. Are you an early career accountant yourself, or do you manage one? Or are you looking to employ or recruit next gen accountants? The accounting industry has seen a huge evolution in the past few years, and our early career accountants need to be prepared for what's to come. So the next generation of accounting professionals are the future of our industry. So let's do whatever we can and give them the tools they need to achieve success. So that's what we are wanting to talk about today. And I know that we're probably going to get into the recruitment retention debate as well, which is also very exciting for the industry, or very challenging for the industry. So next gen accounting, Kyelie, how do we define what is a next gen accountant or an early career accountant, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it's someone coming into the industry regardless of their age, perhaps regardless of their other professional capabilities, but it's just a new entrant into the industry.
Okay. So yeah, it has nothing to do with age necessarily, does it? It's somebody that can be coming into the industry, just entering the industry. Okay. Yeah. And I think, something, because recruitment, retention, we're all fighting for that talent in the industry, or finding a lack of. I was just talking to practitioners here on the Gold Coast yesterday, and they've been trying to recruit an accountant for the best part of 18 months. They're a small firm, and it's been very difficult. So there's part of this that we can just think outside the box. Maybe it's a bit radical to what we would normally look for in an employee, but maybe a next gen accountant's what we need. And I think it's important, and I know you probably feel strongly about this, Kyelie, is to actually give back to our industry, is to contribute by setting these next gen accountants up for career success. Yes,
absolutely. I think we have a really important responsibility. If we're putting these people on, it is our responsibility to set them up for success and make sure that it works. I think gone are the days where we can just put someone on, pay them, and think that that's tick, that's our job done. We're paying them their wage, they should be able to do their job. It just doesn't work like that anymore, because the skill sets that are required have changed so drastically over the course of time. And what they're learning in their pre coming to the office training, so I'll talk about the university degree, that doesn't set them up for enough practical experience, or any practical experience in the office.
That's exactly
right.
right.
You have to go, well, what's my expectation versus what is actually real?
Yes, absolutely. So I think there's a lot to break down in that. Obviously the training and what they're getting from their education side of things before they even make it to us. What do we do when we first get them into the office? How do we train them? What, we need to look at that bit. And then also our own expectations, right? So yeah, 3 great things to chat about. You always give me some really cool stuff to talk about. I love it. I break down your comments. Okay, so let's start with, I want to add another one to that. I want to also add that I think as we're moving into, I think it's here now, but as we move into the next gen as well of accounting, I think that having a purpose in our work is very important. So, there's a lot of talk at the moment about purpose-driven work and how we do that. And I certainly know that our younger early career or next gen accountants are looking for that, but I think we're all looking for that. So I think that also drives it as well.
This is so crazy. I do a word a year, like a word that I focus each year. My word this year is actually purpose. So it's very significant that you have said that this morning. But I completely agree with you. Everybody needs to understand what your actual firm is doing, what your actual firm is about, who we are, what we do. Arguably, all accountants do the same thing within sort of some boundaries, right?
Yes.
So what makes us different? Well, it might be the way we do it, but also who we are, the culture. So, yeah, I think that is all under that sort of purpose banner.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something we've not traditionally looked at as accountants, and you've got to drive that internally. You've got to work out what your purpose is, what your, what it is for the firm, what you're trying to achieve, how you differentiate yourself. Because you're right. Essentially, every accountant can do the same thing or is capable of doing the same thing. It's that purpose, visions, missions, those sorts of things, which may seem a bit fluffy and out there for us very grounded accountants, but they are so important if we're thinking about a modern accounting business, right? And being able to take it into the future.
Absolutely. Donna has shared something really interesting in the room chat, and she said, school does not teach working in the real world.
No.
And, to expand on that even further, it astonishes me that we've got some degrees that they have such a practical component, and then we've got others that there's no practical components at all. So, like your accounting, commerce, business degrees, no practical component. So they come out of this 3 or maybe 4 year degree, having paid the fees or having a huge help debt under their belt. And it's a bit like, well, hope you like it because you're in now,
Exactly.
I really agree with what Donna said there. And I know that I personally I am a big advocate for people getting
work experience.
World experience while they're at university.
Yeah. And look, I have to admit too, I went straight through my degree. I had, a very statutory amount of work experience as I went through my degree back in the day. I think it was only, probably a month over 3 years worth of study, and, came out and then got my first job. I had not worked in an office before either. And, you've got to get around those sorts of dynamics first. But post that and seeing the more successful graduates or next gen accountants come through, it certainly were the ones that had gotten out and either had a holiday job or something like that. Even if it wasn't necessarily related in accounting, even retail jobs have that customer service focus, how to talk to people, how to be in front of people, how to just engage with people. And any other, office related role, you get to answer a phone. These are basic office skills or basic working skills, which we find a lot of our early career accountants don't come out and have, right?
They don't come out and have. And often they come out and they realize, I guess I knew that you had to sit in an office 7.5 hours a day, but I didn't really ever think about it, and I don't want to do that.
Yes.
And it's like, well.
Yes. Again, Donna's just made, Donna's just made another very good comment. And yes, in school, they are told you're good to go. You're right. You can go out and you can earn this much money. And then they come to us as employers and we go, no, you can start back down here, and so we've got the disconnect definitely with how they're set up in their university degrees or school or college or whatever that looks like. And so, there's a lot of work to be done there. I know our organisations here in Australia certainly do, a lot of advocacy work and things in those areas, but there's a whole lot more that we could be doing. But it's probably voicing this, and it's discussions like this that starts that and will start to create that little snowball of change, right?
Yeah, but I think that can be our first sort of point or tip.
Yeah.
Really, when you are employing a next generation accountant or early career accountant, think about what they have done already.
Yeah.
You know, have they had that McDonald's job for a few years at high school? That might mean that they've already got multitasking skills. They've got customer service skills. Or
Correct.
have they got a GPA of 7 but have never had a job at all?
Yes.
So you really need to look at the CVs thoroughly and think, what kind of accountant do I want? Because
absolutely.
at this level, there's going to be a lot of training regardless.
Absolutely.
So I think sometimes all the time, that will help marry up the expectations versus reality. But yeah, you really have to think hard about, well, what's their experience and what are they going to bring? What are those other skills that they're going to bring?
Yes, absolutely. And if you're that next gen accountant, go out and look for some of those basic skills that we've just talked about: customer service, answering phones, being able to manage a workflow or a number of tasks throughout the day. That they are very good skills. You giggle there, Kyelie.
I do, because it's surprising. People sort of mock the fast food jobs these days and that sort of thing. But that as employers, I love seeing that on CVs, because automatically they can work collaboratively with people. They've got teamwork. They've got some sort of social intelligence you would generally expect. Most likely there's some cultural and diversity awareness. They know how to deal with conflict on some sort of level as well. So at least they've been exposed to some of this.
So it does not matter. Yes, it does not matter whether you're manning a takeaway counter somewhere at a food outlet, whether you're helping out in a retail clothing store, whatever it is. It does not have to be a job in accounting. But I think then from an employer's perspective, we should look for some of that. That might just help us out a little bit when we're looking at our CVs and looking to hire our next gen accountants. Okay, so firmly set up that education doesn't set them up necessarily for what the real world skills are in accounting. So when we're hiring and they first come into the office environment, what do we need to sort of, it's I suppose there's two things. It's setting up our expectations. What are our expectations? And helping the next gen accountant to set their expectations as well, right?
So when they first come in, I am big believer in no one will be surprised by this, process-driven orientation.
Love it.
You really want to show these new employees, regardless of whether they're these early career or they're the most senior person you've ever hired, that these are our ways and you need to learn our ways and we will train you, and then you'll tell us that you understand them, and that's it. You set in stone. You've got to do it our way. And that's to avoid that, 3 months down the track. At my old job, we blah, 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 which everyone hates, right? So,
but everyone does.
Everyone does. But what it does for these accountants that we're talking about this morning, these next gen or these early career accountants, it gives them a form of safety. So it's like, okay, so here's this orientation that's clearly set out. I know the first few days are the scariest because they've got no idea. They don't want to be sitting at their desk just waiting because they have
they don't know anyone. They don't know who to ask. Yes, it is a bit scary.
So you really want to have something that is clearly set out, that you've really thought out and gone, right, well, the first bulk of jobs I'm going to give them is, I'm just going to guess, like individual tax returns or whatever. So in order to do that, they need to be able to log on to the system, log on to that program. They better do some training videos on that. We better check that they actually know some deductions, blah, blah, blah. Really think about those first few days. Because in my opinion, and I don't know, Linda, you might disagree, but I really think those first few days in the office are actually quite crucial.
Yes.
Because it can make or break that staff member from an attitude point of view.
Yes.
And you can't pay them to have a good attitude. You can pay them to do the work,
Yes.
But their attitude drives the way they do that work. And
Yes.
you cannot pay people to have a good attitude, no matter how hard you try. And
Yes.
I've tried very hard at
You've not given up on that, Kylie. That's very, very good to see. A bit of a dog with a bone. I love it. But you are
I'm
right.
persistent.
Yes, determined and persistent. Yes, you're right, because you don't want to break them in the first week. It's a scary proposition, you know, to go into and particularly for people who we attract to the accounting industry and are interested in that, we do tend to be a little more introverted than extroverted. So, you know, we're big thinkers. We like to think. We don't necessarily converse or talk out loud as much as some other people. So again, that adds into that customer service entry-level role where they've been forced into having to communicate with people makes a difference. That's another tick for those roles. But yes, I think you can absolutely make it or break it in the first few days. And again, we're coming back to planning and communication, aren't we? You know, it's like you're not just going to hire these people and go plonk, sit down here, watch Kylie, watch me do this, and then you should just be able to do it yourself. It doesn't work like that.
But that is actually what's happening in a lot of firms.
Yes.
And it's not because it's not for any other reason other than probably that's the way it's always been done.
Yes.
You know, there is that disconnect between reality and expectation.
Yes.
So these are the things that are needed to bridge that gap.
Yes, yes. So you've talked about a introduction system, an onboarding system, and, you know, something that you've got planned out. What I saw actually as part of a recruitment process with an accounting firm that I do a lot of work with is they actually have the first week, they set out the agenda for the new person coming on board. And it doesn't matter whether they're a junior accountant, a receptionist, admin, or right through to a senior or manager. And the whole agenda is set out as to what you're going to learn, what skill it is, and who's going to take you through that. So that's what I'd like to talk about too, is sharing this load. I think there's a propensity to go, oh no, I can't handle a graduate or a next gen accountant. That'll take me too long. It'll do my head in. When am I going to get my work done? You know, I think we've got to break that attitude. You know, we've got to look at this seriously, and planning communication and, you know, sharing the training load. And that doesn't necessarily mean sharing it between people. Share it between the amazing video and online tutorial things that we have these days. Get smart about this and actually plan it. You know, for the first few days, half the day may be watching training videos to give everybody else time to get their work done, you know, because ultimately it is a time and resource impost. You know, of course it is. Training anybody is, bringing anybody new. But yeah, let me know what you think about that, Kylie.
Yeah, well, practically that's exactly what we do. So we have an orientation that goes for, depending on the level of staff member, you know, between 3 to 4 days. And on the 5th day, they get work allocated. So each one of our teams is responsible for some of that training, but honestly, some of it's like, you know, one of their tasks is introduce yourself, tell them about yourself, how long you've been here, what your role is, how do you fit into this with them, you know, how you'll be interacting, right? That sort of thing. Some of the tasks are teach them how to use the coffee machine, because you know what, for me, it's super important. Like I want to be told how to use the coffee machine. Someone take them down to the local coffee place and introduce them to our favourite person there and tell them they're part of our team.
Yes. So some of that,
like we have really, I guess, obscure things that teaches them about our culture.
You have, and what can be frustrating, I think, for employers in the accounting industry is that it feels like you have to be blatantly obvious about some of these things that, you know, oh, come on, team, let's just show them how to use the coffee machine. You know, I saw in my time a lot of younger people that came through and they didn't drink tea or coffee. So even using a coffee machine was foreign to them, you know, Yeah, and so there's these little things that we think about, but being blatantly obvious. And I think the other thing around this orientation plan or an orientation agenda, when it's prepared prior to this person entering your office environment and circulated to both the new employee and the team, what you've just done there is created expectations across everybody. What everyone's responsibility is in sharing this load of onboarding a new team member, which is vitally important for our business, because it is so expensive, first to recruit, second to train, and the staff turnover. You don't want that either. That, is one of these unseen costs that we underestimate greatly in any industry. So yes, some tips
really
there,
do.
everyone.
I think some people do feel that training or that orientation is also lost time. Like, they just need people to come in and hit the ground running. But what I would say is, do not underestimate the value of that. Like, you are teaching them your culture, you're teaching them, you're getting your staff to help them understand what your brand is, the way we work. It's not about just what you do. So those first few days are really crucial in embedding them or that person within your team.
What you also might just learn from planning that and communicating that is perhaps a team member that needs a bit extra support from you, or something you thought was happening is not happening, or something that you've not had complete clarity around yourself and went, you know what? I don't want to do it that way anymore. I want to talk about it this way. So there's always these opportunities to learn more about your own firm and, how things work together. Okay, so when a next-gen accountant, or even anybody really, comes into the office environment, make sure we've planned and we've communicated what we want to do. So that's the first one, planning and communication. Perhaps set up an agenda or something, a system that is there for orientation, along with who is responsible for each little bit and part of that. Don't get too detailed. You don't have to go crazy about it. You can just keep it very high level. Be blatantly honest and open with your team about what you want them to do. State the obvious. It can't hurt. And also then I think that idea of sharing the training load. So much online video resources that we can access from our software providers, from our industry organizations. So much. You've just got to go and look for it. And maybe it's a project you want to give the team. Maybe you can sit down and create an orientation project in a little sub-working group or something. What do you guys find most frustrating when we bring somebody new in? Let them drive and go, okay, let's set this up, So get everyone involved. It doesn't always have to fall on your shoulders as the owner of the business. The majority will, and the responsibility will, of course, but you don't have to be doing all of the work. Okay. So tips, that was around the first few days. Where do we go to then, Kylie? So let's think about, we're getting into some more technical work with our next gen accountant, and we're going into weeks and months as well. So where do we go next?
I think you need to give them, depending on, you need to give them work that they're actually capable of doing. I think a big misstep is when we give them work that is just too difficult for them, and we sort of make excuses about it because we say, they need to cut their teeth on something, but then the support that they need is not there. Yeah. So it's fine to do that if they've got support, but when everyone else is so busy, or when you're working flexibly or remotely and it's more difficult to access someone to assist them, you really need to think critically about, well, what do I actually want out of this person? Where is their skill set at? Do I just want them to bill for me? Because if that's the case, you can only really give them work that is completely in their capability comfort zone. Yeah. If you're like, no, I need them to get to here quite quickly, then you need to invest in that time and training and really give them that opportunity. And again, and I know I've said this so many times already, but it comes back to that, reality versus expectation, because everybody learns differently. So another thing that I am really, really passionate about is learning how other people learn.
Yes.
So how does your brain work? Like Linda, you and I are very different in the way we receive information and learn. And it's the whole thing. Like, some people might just read things and they've got this photographic memory and cool, that's great. I know what to do pretty well.
I'm not so much
might
either.
be visual learners, some people might really need to do it, think about it, go away, come back, ask questions. Like, you actually have to figure out how people learn. 90% of accountants will learn by showing.
Yes.
And then say, go and do it yourself and come back to me if you've got any questions.
Yes.
And actually that doesn't work for most people. So one thing that we definitely do in our office as part, well, I do it as part of the first week of orientation, is have a really big chat to someone about how they learn. Now, I'm just going to give you the heads up. When you say to someone, so how do you learn?
Yes.
They don't have an answer for you.
No, they have no idea. And I'm finding myself standing here going, well, how do I learn again? But I think I do know.
And I use examples. So, like, if I was trying to show you something, what's your preference? Would you want me to show you and then give you a go at it and then show you again? Would you want me to just do a video and then send you back to your desk so you could work through it yourself and try it yourself and then come back with questions? Like, what's your best option?
Yeah, great. Great.
So examples are the best.
Yes.
But you have to actually tailor the training to each individual person, because we all learn differently.
Yes.
And if you can nail that person's learning method, they just come so much faster. So, they get it quickly.
Yeah, they do. That's a great tip. So everybody, absolutely have that discussion. You just heard the examples that Kyelie rolled off. You might have some other ones as well. I know. Yeah, I know absolutely that show me a video or let me read a procedure, let me have a go, and then I want to ask questions. I want to have a go for myself. And, that then shows me that there's places in that procedure that I need to learn better or fulfill, fill in the gaps. So that's very much, and I'm a bit more of a visual learner. So, yes.
So here's my tech tip for the day.
Yes.
Loom. I have spoken about
yes.
before, but it might have been a long time. It's LOOM. They do have a free version. It's just as good, has just as many features, but there are paid versions as well.
Yes.
And it is like it's a extension in Chrome or it's a desktop app or a mobile app. And basically just press record, do the thing. It takes a video of the screen with sound, with your voice recording it. I use it in a variety of facets. I use it with clients sometimes where, they don't know how to do something in their data file, and I'll just show them and then send them a video. Because that's much nicer than typing out steps and quicker for me. And it generally works better. And the feedback that you get from clients when you use it with them is great too. But Lou, if you're not using it already, go check it out.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I'm just going to break a little controversial here, but, I think that we need to get out of our comfort zones here. Clearly, we've had probably some horror stories about bringing on next-gen accountants or people into the office. And just what you were saying there before, Kyelie, about the way we want to train, have this with communication with accountants as well. The way we want to train or communicate with other people may not be the best method for them. So if we've got to think of the overall result we're trying to achieve here and what we want to do, and perhaps do something a little bit different. Try it a different way. Invest in your people. And you never know, you might just learn something new yourself, which will be very, very cool. But you've got to invest the time in doing this. This whole idea of thinking about, I've got so much work to do, I can't do that. Well, all of a sudden, the accounting industry is going to run out of accountants if we all keep thinking like that. And, we're not far off of that. So we've got to be doing something about this. So perhaps we've got to get out of our comfort zone a little bit, thinking about how can we invest, change up our days, manage our expectations around what a new person can help us out with. And 100%, no one, no matter how experienced they are in accounting, hits the ground running. Nobody. That is a 100% completely unrealistic expectation. Because they may know how to do tax returns, BASs, high-level tax stuff, or whatever it is you've employed them to do, but they don't know how you do it. So no one will hit the ground running. So get that out of your mind. If you're thinking you're going to save time by getting a more experienced person, you're not. Everyone requires training, and the same thing goes for an on-site employee versus an off-site employee. Okay, it does not matter where they are in the world, same training will need to apply. And you should include all of that culture stuff you talked about, Kylie. That's what engages an employee, makes them trust and like and become loyal to the firm very, very early. And that's what you want to achieve. So I think, as accountants, we need to look at things maybe just that little bit differently. So I think there are some ways, and I've just said you've got to get out of your comfort zone. Accountants hate it when I say that, but we do. I don't like it when it's said to me sometimes either, but often it's a red rag to a bull to me. So there are some probably tips around that. Kylie just gave you one loom. Check it out, play with it, work out how you learn. Try this new thing. How do you learn? Do you want to read about it and then try it, and you want to talk to somebody who's used it before? That'd be an interesting exercise for you. But I think we can add some structure to our days. Perhaps we've got to take a look at how much time we're spending and what areas we're spending it in with regard to our business, our clients, our team throughout our week, particularly as a new person joins the organisation. And also my other tip is around breaking tasks down into the smallest manageable pieces and having regular check-ins. Okay, so they're my two things. So Kylie, what do you think about structure and the structure of our weeks and that time investment, I suppose, in a next gen accountant?
Yeah, super important. Like, we need to remember that these guys, they're the junior of junior people, regardless of their experience in other fields. So you don't want to give that really loose leash, because that's where trouble can happen. So, you might give them a task and it might be a week-long task, but if you don't check in, you could get to the end of that week and it's a disaster, and it's like, oh my goodness, they've wasted a week and now I've got to redo the whole thing. Regular check-ins are so important. And
yes,
I think when that happens, the most, you can only really be frustrated at yourself, but generally the frustration gets taken out on the person that has stuffed up the job.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that it is really about making sure that we've got this structure in place, and making sure we also take responsibility of that. Like, it is very hard to put the responsibility on a brand new person, particularly early career. And I will say, particularly when they're fresh out of uni, younger in age, to say to them, right, you need to come back to me and tell me where you're at.
They're just not going to. Yes.
And even if they do, and if they try, like, I'm always busy. Like, my staff will say to me, oh, I just didn't want to interrupt you. You were busy. And I'm like, I'm always busy, man. Like, you have to interrupt me at some point.
Yes.
I am never doing nothing. And that will be the way it is for the rest of my life. So you better get in there, So we need to take responsibility. We're the employers.
I agree.
This next generation accountant. If we want these guys to work out for us and become awesome intermediates or awesome seniors that are totally bound to us and our businesses, invest the time early.
Absolutely. And I think if anybody out there in Clubhouse or is listening to us in any of the live versions, if you've got some ways that you do that, we'd love for you to share that. Any tips or tricks around that, because that's how we learn too from each other. That's the most powerful stuff we can have, is to learn from other people and get tips and tricks around that. So I think taking that responsibility for putting that time in is so important, and realizing that it is our responsibility and that we need to lead the way with that. I love that point that you made. It's just come and interrupt me when you're ready. Putting that responsibility onto the new person in the office is not going to work. So you can perhaps set up the expectation and go, I'm going to be standing here right beside your desk at 9 and 11 and 3 for the first week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, or your buddy will be. Now, that's another little tip. You can have a buddy type system and you initiate that. I think it's the existing team members that need to take that responsibility. Don't just sit and wait for people to come to you. Now, that is not a natural thing that I have found in the accounting profile. We like to wait for people to come to us and ask us or tell us what they need. So that's how we generally roll. So this is a bit of getting out of our comfort zone again and initiating and leading the first few weeks of these contact, because if we don't, that new person is never going to feel safe to interrupt us when they do need us. So I think that's vitally important.
One of the things that I say to my staff is that we have to treat new team members like new clients.
Yeah.
You have to show them the love. You have to help them with their onboarding, because it's like they're learning our new IQ language. You have to really make sure they feel safe.
Yes.
Understand what's going on. Really be told what the next steps are. So you have to sort of treat your staff like you would a client.
Absolutely.
You never just get a client on board and then say nothing.
No, you also would not tell a client, not that we tell new people this either, that, well, that's a stupid question, I'm not even going to answer that. Or you are very much more open, I think, with clients and accepting that they don't necessarily understand things. I think some of that needs to be extended to our next gen accountants as well. But this concept, I've been reading a lot about this concept of psychological safety, and that it being okay to fail, to be okay to make a mistake, to go, you know what, I got that wrong, I really stuffed it up, but you know what, I'm learning, I'm fixing it, I'm doing something different so that it should never happen again, because it's the learnings that come out of that. And again, that's part of setting up our expectations around what a next gen accountant can help us out with, or how their initial joining the firm might look like.
Yeah, I think another thing, and Donna raised it a little bit ago in the room chat, and she said, in school they're told that they're good to go, which is so true. Like, you finish uni, you're like, you've got this degree, you're good to go, and it sets them up. Donna's comment is it sets them up for unrealistic expectations. This is not special for accountants. I think this might be professional services and other industries as well. But I completely agree. Like, I find that you get grads come out and they're like, great, when will I be seeing clients?
Yes. And when will I be earning $100,000? Or, yes.
Yeah. So, we have to think about how you deal with that, because really that's
really good
that's
conversation.
Not their fault.
No.
Like that.
No.
And it's not our fault that we have to squash that. But how do you do that to this brand new person?
Yes. So there's a knack in that conversation, isn't there, Kylie, which I hope you're going to maybe tell us a little bit about, because I've got some comments around that as well.
Yeah, I'll share what we do, but I'm not saying that we do it the best or the right way, but we do it in a way that sort of works. We talk to them about, right, you're in the real world now.
Yeah.
Now. So we talk about the real world experiences. This is how we deal with clients. This is the sort of questions they come to us with. This is how they make appointments. This is how we triage who gets to see them. This is how blah, blah, blah. And that's how the employee gets that like penny drop or light bulb moment of, I don't know how to do any of that. I can't do it. So you don't actually have to say to them, I'm letting you see clients. That's crazy.
You
just have to explain to them, hey, this is what happens. This is how it happens. And, here's how it fits in. And if you're amazing and you feel that you can do that, then we'll assess that at the right place in time. But generally, for people that have come before you, this is the time frame.
Yes, exactly. And I think a mistake that we make also too is by just saying, no, you can't do that, you're not going to be doing that for forever, and leave it at that, and not explain anything, or provide the options of what the milestones are or what the progression needs to look like. And then you put the responsibility of a employee's progression back onto them. I've told you I want you to do this first, then I want you to achieve a competency in doing that, then I want to see this happen and then that happen. And what happens after that, you go through those 5 steps, you can talk to clients. Great. Don't care how quickly you do that. That's up to you. So, you know, again, I think we feel like it's swapping this responsibility thing that we were just talking about before, but we have to feel like we've got to lead everybody through this when really we want to empower our next gen accountants. We want to give them the tools to set themselves up for success, and everyone will go at their own pace and learn in their own way. But you don't want to, you may have potential absolute superstar in your midst, and you don't want to stand on their newly fresh accounting head and push them back down into the ground, because if you set them the steps and they go 1, 2, 3, wow, I did that 6 months, look at you go. And then what are the rewards for doing that? So again, I think we've got to do some more planning about this. We've got to think about what that looks like for our firm. What do we expect will happen?
And it has to be individualized and tailored to that specific employee as well, because sometimes you'll get this great, you know, next gen accountant that comes in and they've got a skill set that no one else has. So I'll just say it, like I see these guys come in and their tech skills are far superior.
Yes, we're seeing that more and more now. It's very exciting. Yes.
It's so exciting because they grow up on devices.
Yes.
You know, they haven't had to learn it like we had to. So, you know, like I've still got stuff that I'm like, okay, this is Loom and this is your press this button and do it. And it's
just like, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
You know, whereas new people come in and they're like, fantastic, hit the ground running, off they go. And they're excited that we do stuff like that as well. So I think sometimes you have to take people's strengths and go, all right, well, they've got these strengths. So next time this client come and asks me about this app that they do, like ServiceMate or something like that, I think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go and find that out.
Yes, give it to your tech person. Yes,
exactly. Pick your person that's going to go, I can't wait to find out the answer, instead of my attitude, which is, oh no,
another one I got to learn.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But you're not going to give that to your senior accountant that just wants to, you know, does not want to deal with that at all.
And also your senior accountant that's $250 to $300 an hour, where we may have a young tech guru that can get their heads around it so much faster and a much cheaper charge out rate, you know? So, yeah.
And then you're happy for that person potentially to speak directly to that client. And that's where clients see value.
Yes.
So, yeah, I just think that you have to really tailor it to your individual staff member as well. But that is actually how you can set them up for success, because it's all these skills that they need to learn that they don't learn at uni, like you know, professionalism, efficiency, autonomy, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you have to let them have a go.
Absolutely, and that's part of the risk of taking on a next gen early career accountant, any new employees to start with. That is part of the risk of business, and that's just the way you got to go about it. So I just want to circle back to that conversation around, you know, coming out of uni, when am I going to talk to clients, when am I going to earn big money, what does that look like? So I talked about planning on what the steps might be for somebody that want to take, so have the conversation around that. That's how you can base it on those things, and just here's what we'd love you to do, and then it's up to you to go from there. But yeah, another thing that this tailoring to a special skills that individuals might have. Okay, so tailoring individual, all right, that doesn't sit really great with me either, Kylie. I'm an accountant, I'm so busy. What do you mean everyone's got to be different? I can't keep them all in the same boxes.
And that's, well, we are all different. You know, not everybody fits in the same box. So while we can have, this is our orientation and this is the same work that we do, we have to figure out what makes people tick. So as an example, you know, when people come out and they're like, well, when am I going to be able to talk to clients? That shows they want autonomy.
Yes.
But we know in order to get to that that we trust them to work like that. We need to make sure that they are able to build relationships. You know, we need to make sure that they have time management, can work efficiently, do all of those other things. So you do have to really look at each staff member and assess them on what skills have they already got and what skills do we need. And I do a risk matrix, not a risk matrix, a skills matrix.
Skills, there we go.
And I do that. Well, yeah, not a risk matrix. Not in this circumstance.
No.
I do a skills matrix, and
Cool,
I do
I like
it
that.
for my whole team.
Cool.
Yeah, so, you know, I do it like every staff member has a different colour and blah, blah, blah. And it's to make sure that I just don't employ everybody that is exactly the same, that has the same skills. Like, if everyone is super efficient, but no one can build relationships, big trouble, because guess who's the only person that's going to be relationship building? Me. I don't know when I'm going to get time to do anything else. So I have to make sure that I've got stuff to spread the load. So I love the early career accountants because sometimes they come with skills. Sometimes you just see such potential in them and you're like, oh, they're going to be able to fill this box that I've been trying to do. You know,
I love that, Kylie.
I think.
Yes. What sort of skills have you got on there? You've obviously got some technical skills. You just mentioned relationship building. I'd imagine there'd be some techie type skills in there as well. Is there anything else that you... Drive, okay. Gold. Being able to lead the way, being assertive, yes.
Gold, actually gold, or are they just, do they have
great
gold? Time management and efficiency, being able to work autonomously.
Yeah.
Even their own thing, like resilience.
Perfect. Emotional intelligence is another one, but yes, yeah.
All of those things, like it's quite long. And obviously it's I don't share this with my team.
No.
Because, like, it isn't quite...
It's a management tool. No, but it is. Yes.
Where do I see?
Yes.
What do they bring to the things I've got on there, like innovation? Are they innovative, or do they just do the same way last time?
Yes. Problem solving would be another one as well, I'd imagine. You know, how do you go about doing that? Yeah. Oh, I love that. Everybody, you just heard absolute 100% pure gold there. A skills matrix. Love it. And all with you, if you're into your colours, get in and make it all pretty colours and, you know, get your colour geek on. So that'd be really cool. I love that, Kylie. And yeah, I'll certainly be sharing that amongst some of the accountants that I work with. I think that's fabulous. I do just want to circle back around and right back to the beginning where we talked about perhaps a lack of purpose-driven work and this purpose and even your purpose. So you can't really do a skills matrix if you don't know what you're trying to achieve. So the two go hand in hand. So sometimes there's some groundwork that we need to do as accounting business owners around thinking about our business differently, what we're trying to achieve, where we want to go, before we can get into the detail of who's going to help us get there. So very, very important. There's a lot of connections that can be made here, everybody. And oh my gosh, hasn't the time got away on us? It's been amazing. If anyone's got any last minute comments for us that they want to pop into chat, that'd be great. That's gone great guns this morning. I love that. First run for chat with us. Excellent. After my initial little tech fail of not turning it on, but we've got it on and it's great.
It's working really well.
Yes. And if anybody wants to pop up and talk to us, I was just going to say, Kylie, if they want to unmute their microphone or raise their hand, please, we're happy to take that as well. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. I was just going to say, I think when we're trying to work out what is our purpose, an obvious answer is, well, to help our clients, right?
Yes.
I think it's more about asking yourselves, you know, who are we and
yes.
what do we do?
Yes.
And also, why do we do it?
Yes, yes.
I have done that as a professional development tool with my team, and it is so interesting and so valuable because they said some things where I was like, oh, they get it. You know what I mean? I was blown away by some of the things that they said, like, who are we?
Yes.
Who are we? And like I'm telling you now, we didn't just write accountants on
No.
board. Like there were 50 words that we wrote up. And what do we do? Well, we know what we do, but the why we do it was just probably so interesting. You know, we do it because we care. We do it, like, there were so many reasons, and I just yeah, if you haven't done that with your team, I would definitely recommend it, because it was almost like a bonding experience.
Yes.
I was not expecting. I was actually expecting people to go,
yes,
why are we wasting our time doing this?
Absolutely. I know it can feel that fluffy side of things that we don't do as accountants, right? But it's so important. And that's the work I love to do. So if anybody is looking for help around what to do, how to structure that, I run those sessions with teams. And so if anybody is needing any help, please reach out. I can direct you in the right direction for some reading if you want to have a look at that. But yeah, so important. So whether you want to do it, I actually recommend looking at your purpose and those sorts of strategic foundation areas on your own first as the business owner, and then going out with some concept of that and joining in the team. And then you absolutely get those amazing moments where the team's talking about going, oh my God, that's exactly what I said. Oh my gosh, they get it. They understand me. So it's very, very empowering for everyone involved. So highly recommend it. Okay, so close to finishing up, top of the hour. We've got no one's raised their hand. Okay, cool. So next week, 16th of March, gosh, we're motoring through the year, at 7 a.m, Kyelie and I will be here leading the discussion on team culture and building your dream team. So we're going to build on everything that we talked about today and getting a little bit more into that strategic foundation side of things, and purpose and purpose-driven work, and how we find purpose in what we do, because there's purpose behind everything. You just got to go digging for it and look for it, and it's all about how you frame it as well. So that'll be a really cool discussion. So we would love for you to join us over here on either the Clubhouse app or in the live stream on my YouTube channel or in my LinkedIn profile. Anywhere, there's plenty of places you can get it. And of course, I just wanted to a quick plug for a CPA committee event that we've got coming up. We've just done International Women's Day for 2022. The Queensland Committee for Women is well underway in planning a 2023 retreat. It's a 2-day retreat. It will be held in a beautiful resort in Townsville. And yes, we would love for any women in accounting to join us for that retreat. We're just finalising the speakers and everything that we're going to have there, but it's very much going to be retreat based. So no technical learning. You can come. We might even be doing some yoga and eating some lovely food, taking a boat cruise, things like that. Who knows? So we're taking expressions of interest for that. You can reach out to me. Pop over and have a look at the Queensland Committee for Women LinkedIn page, which is where you can get all the updates around that. So the 2023 International Women's Day Retreat in Townsville, I think it's the 10th and 11th of March next year. So pop it in your calendar. Come and hang out with us, because we do expect that to sell out. There are limited numbers. So we're at the end of our chat again, Kyelie. Whiz through. We could keep chatting forever, but everybody needs to get on with their day. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. We look forward to talking to you again. And if you have any topics for us again, please just reach out and let us know what you would like us to talk about. But next week, building your dream team. And Kyelie, thank you once again.
Thank you, Linda. It's been a great discussion, and thanks for all who joined us in Clubhouse.
Absolutely. And thanks for all the comments, everybody. That really makes our day. Have a great week, everybody. See you later.
Bye.